Hello, my friend. It's me again, BAWLER. I have some interesting news for you, as always. Please subscribe to my channel and write what you think about it in the comments. Please support my channel with a small donation. It's not much for you, but for me, it's an incentive to keep going and bring you important news. I've included a PayPal link to support my channel in the description for this video. Thank you. After months of intensifying conflict in Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin makes a choice that changes everything. Under pressure from battlefield losses and growing unrest at home, he resorts to the most extreme measure, a move he's threatened over 50 times already. In fact, his threats to use nuclear weapons began even before launching the so-called special military operation back in 2022. But Putin knows, as does the rest of the world, that crossing the nuclear threshold is a point of no return. Such a decision would almost certainly prompt NATO to declare all-out war against Russia, one it cannot win by conventional means. So rather than wait for the West's inevitable response, Putin decides to strike first. He orders a synchronized nuclear assault targeting the United States and NATO allies. What follows is not a prolonged war, but the fastest and deadliest in human history, from launch to near total global destruction under 2 hours. This is how nuclear war unfolds minute by minute. At T-minus 15 minutes, Putin is inside his underground command bunker beneath the Kremlin. The war in Ukraine has reached a breaking point. With Western-backed Ukrainian forces advancing across several fronts, his generals present him with so-called limited nuclear options. One scenario involves using a single tactical nuke, no more than 10 kilotons, slightly smaller than Hiroshima's bomb. It could annihilate a Ukrainian military stronghold and shock NATO into the negotiating table. He has two main choices: strike the heart of Ukraine by hitting Kyiv and decapitating its leadership, or target a less central location like Kharkiv, Dnipro, or Zaporizhia, cities Russia has failed to capture in 2 years of fighting. The first option could allow him to claim victory by crippling Ukraine's command structure and forcing a chaotic surrender. Even if NATO responds conventionally, Putin could withdraw, blame the escalation on NATO, and push propaganda that would resonate with Russian citizens and allies like China and India. The second option would serve as proof that his nuclear threats are real, cementing Russia's status as a top-tier military power. Either way, once the bomb goes off, he knows full-scale war with NATO is unavoidable. In Putin's mind, the only way to win is to eliminate NATO's ability to retaliate. He picks his target and gives the order. At T-minus 1 minute, a tactical nuclear warhead detonates near Zaporizhia, vaporizing an entire Ukrainian armored brigade. A mushroom cloud rises into the stratosphere, visible from space. Radiation sensors across Europe detect the blast instantly. A 10-kiloton bomb incinerates everything within half a mile. A mile out, severe burns and lethal radiation injuries are widespread. Buildings collapse. First responders scramble to rescue who they can. A city of 700,000 becomes a ghost town in minutes. Tens of thousands die in the blast. Survivors are evacuated. Simultaneously, secure communications between Kyiv, Washington, London, Paris, and Berlin confirm the unthinkable. Russia has gone nuclear. From his bunker, Putin turns to Defense Minister Andrei Belousov and gives the next command, one that will reshape history: launch everything. Russia's nuclear command system, known as Dead Hand or Perimeter, activates. Created during the Cold War to guarantee retaliation even if Moscow's leadership is destroyed, the system begins transmitting launch codes. Across the vast Russian Federation, 400 ICBMs in underground silos prepare for liftoff. Mobile Topol-M launchers hidden across forests and tundra finalize their trajectories. Borei-class submarines, each carrying 16 Bulava missiles, receive orders to surface and fire. Putin's targets are surgical and devastating. In the US, he aims for the Pentagon, NORAD, and the missile fields of Montana, North Dakota, and Wyoming. In the UK, Faslane Naval Base and central government sites. In France, Brest and the Strategic Forces HQ. In Germany, Ramstein Air Base and NATO's command centers. Additional targets include US nuclear sites in Belgium, Italy, and the Netherlands. The objective is not conquest, it's decapitation. Deny NATO the ability to respond. At T+0, just 60 seconds after Putin's order, the first Russian ICBMs ignite. America's space-based infrared system satellites pick up the rocket heat signatures from 22,000 miles above. Alarms go off at Peterson Space Force Base in Colorado. The alert is clear and horrifying. Russia has launched multiple ICBMs on a suborbital trajectory. At T+2 minutes, the call reaches President Donald Trump in the Oval Office. It's still morning in D.C. The NORAD commander's voice is urgent and calm. Mr. President, confirmed ICBM launches from Russia. Estimated time to impact: 28 minutes. This appears to be a coordinated first strike. Under the doctrine of launch on warning, Trump doesn't need Congress or foreign leaders to act. The nuclear football, the briefcase with launch codes, is handed to him. He has less than 28 minutes to decide the fate of civilization. At T+4 minutes, the threat from the sea appears. Russian Borei-class submarines off the US coast begin launching Bulava SLBMs. These need only travel 1-200 miles, cutting flight time dramatically. At Peterson, threat projections update in real time. 150 ICBMs and 64 SLBMs are in the air. Their targets, dozens of US cities and military bases and numerous NATO installations. European targets have around 10 more minutes before warheads begin deployment. The US has missile defense systems, like the Ground-Based Mid-Course Defense, GMD, but they're unreliable. Hitting a hypersonic missile with another is like firing a bullet at a bullet. GMD has a 55% success rate. At these volumes, even a perfect day means hundreds of warheads still reach their targets. Many ICBMs carry up to 10 independently targeted warheads, plus decoys. Interception is nearly impossible. At T+6 minutes, Trump authorizes immediate retaliation. O-Plan 8-10-12 goes into effect. Within 60 seconds, 400 US Minuteman III missiles receive launch codes. US submarines prepare to fire Trident II missiles. At T+8 minutes, the UK's Prime Minister activates the emergency nuclear protocol. HMS Victorious, submerged in the North Atlantic, readies 16 Tridents. France's nuclear submarines begin launching M51 missiles. Land-based French missiles join in. NATO's nuclear reply is 100 warheads strong. At T+12 minutes, Russian SLBMs are just minutes from impact. American interceptors at Fort Greely, Alaska, launch frantically. Some succeed, most fail. At T+16 minutes, the first Russian warhead explodes over Washington, D.C., an 800-kiloton bomb, 50 times Hiroshima's size. The White House is vaporized. Seconds later, the Pentagon follows. One by one, American cities fall. Norfolk Naval Station is gone. Offutt AFB, home of Strategic Command, is erased. Minuteman silos at Malmstrom AFB are obliterated before launching. In New York, the Brooklyn Navy Yard is struck. Millions die. London is leveled. Paris burns. A misfire over Montmartre still incinerates 30 square miles. Hamburg's port is erased. Europe's defenses fail. Its arsenal is 5 times smaller than Russia's. At T+24 minutes, America's Minuteman missiles reach Russia. They target only military installations, Plesetsk Cosmodrome, Severodvinsk, mobile launchers in Siberia, silos in the Kola Peninsula, all gone. By T+35 minutes, the first exchange ends. If both sides use their full arsenal, over 3,400 warheads have been detonated. Russian silos are empty. US command centers are destroyed, cities burn, millions dead and counting. France's final missiles hit Russia's naval bases. Britain's last Trident strike Vladivostok. The war, as a military event, is over in under an hour, but the suffering has just begun. By T+2 hours, the global damage becomes clear. An estimated 15 million dead. Electromagnetic pulses have wiped out electronics. Civilization begins to collapse. At T+6 hours, radiation sickness sets in. Hospitals are overwhelmed. Fires rage unchecked. Rescue efforts are impossible. Radioactive clouds spread globally. Soot from firestorms pollutes the atmosphere. Breathing becomes dangerous. Princeton estimates place the total deaths at 34 million. On day 1, 3 days in, markets collapse. Global trade halts. China shuts its borders. India mobilizes, South America rations fuel. 2 weeks later, the smoke injected into the stratosphere blocks sunlight. Ukrainian and Russian grain exports vanish. Food reserves, normally lasting 75 days, dwindle fast. At T+6 months, global temperatures drop. Crops fail in the US, Midwest, and across Europe. Yields drop 60%. Starvation begins. 100 million dead from hunger. By T+2 years, the nuclear winter peaks. Temperatures plummet by 14 degrees Celsius. A global ice age begins. Crop failures are nearly total. 5 billion people die. Even survivors face decades of uninhabitable zones, genetic radiation damage, and collapsed ecosystems. And this scenario, entirely fictional for now. Neither Russia nor NATO appears willing to start such a war, but this hypothetical illustrates the madness of nuclear conflict. There is no winner. If Russia were to use a tactical nuke in Ukraine, it would likely do so to force surrender, risking a conventional war with NATO, which ends in Russia's retreat. Only 2 nuclear bombs have ever been used on cities. Thousands more remain operational. What stands between peace and extinction is the judgment of a few world leaders and the absence of one fatal miscalculation. These arsenals, meant to prevent war, could erase humanity in 35 minutes. The only way to prevent it is global disarmament. But as long as one bad actor remains, no one can take that risk. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on BAWLER.